say did or do. Is this in the past?
Hello.
Mr. Blanc?
Yeah.
Yes, Nelson Hauer with Channel 4 News in St. Louis. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Fine. Bob Frischman talked with you. I'm really glad we're able to do this interview. We're going to be talking to your friend Chuck Jones today, too.
All right, fine.
And first, we want to get a voice level on you. So if you could just want to, talk for a second so they can make sure your voice is coming across.
Okay, Doc, I'm talking now. Talking this voice a little bit.
You're going.
And maybe Pepe Le Pew down here.
Oh,
A few other things.
that's great.
All right.
Mr. Blanc, where do you get your ideas for your vocal characterizations?
Well, they usually show me the cartoon character first, and then they show me a storyboard of what he's going to do in the cartoon. From this, I have to create a voice. Like, for example, Bugs Bunny, they told me was a tough little stinker, and I'd have to find a tough voice for him. So I thought, which is the toughest, either Brooklyn or the Bronx?
So I put the two of them together, Doc. That's how I got the voice for Bugs.
And they said Porky was a timid little character, and I had to give him a little timid voice. And when I speak at the different colleges, I tell them a little story how I created the voice for Porky. Like I went out to a pig farm and wallowed around with the pigs for a couple of weeks, and come back to the studio, and they threw me out, said go home and take a bath. Which I did. When I come back, I said, if a pig could talk, he'd talk with a grunt.
Wait. That's maybe Porky Pig got his voice. He with a grunt.
How did you and Chuck Jones collaborate on ideas for characterizations?
Well, Chuck is a very flexible guy. He's a marvelous director. And he knows exactly what he wants. Many times the other directors don't know exactly what they want, and they will more or less fool around until they find it. But Chuck knows exactly what he wants. And in his creations of Pepe Le Pew and the Roadrunner and various things that he has created, he knows exactly what he wants done. And therefore, it's very simple to work for Chuck. He's a marvelous director. Although the other directors are all fine, Chuck is a little more to the point. He told you exactly what he wants.
Do you find it easy to get into Jones' characters?
Yes, because Chuck knows what kind of character he wants. He told me that little Pepe Le Pew was a little French skunk, and how he would say things wrong all the time. And of course, like a Frenchman would say, voila. He says, say something different. So I said, how about viola instead of voila? So he says, that's cute. And we changed different things around and had the little French skunk say things that weren't actually French.
Over the years, do the characters you portrayed almost begin to seem like old friends to you?
Yes, they do. I love my work, and I love to portray the various characters that I do. I do several hundred of them, In each dialect, you can do several different voices, and I know practically all the dialects. And it's very interesting for me. And the fellow who gave me my start there, his name was Treg Brown. He kept taking pictures of me all the time. And I said, Treg, what are you taking so many pictures of me for? He says, Mel, you resemble almost every character you do. So then he showed me the different things, the different poses that I go through. I didn't realize I was doing it, but it kind of fit. It was a kind of cute idea.
Do you have a favorite character that you and Jones worked on together?
Yeah, I think it's Pepe Le Pew. He's so different than all other screen lovers that it's a very interesting character. And of course, the Wile E. Coyote, and Wiley very seldom speaks. When he does speak, he talks like an actor. He says, I shall catch the little roadrunner. When I do, I'm going to break every bone in his body. And he doesn't speak very often, but when he does, this is the voice that he uses.
Mr. Blanc, what's the greatest joy over the years doing all these voices and characters has brought you?
Well, it's brought me friendship and numerous awards. I just received an award from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science, and incidentally, Chuck was there and sort of introduced me, and he's a terrific guy. He's a very funny man too, you know, and even in his ad libs. And I might add that Chuck is a marvelous artist, besides being a great animator. He is a beautiful artist. He's painted some gorgeous pictures.
Do you find that his cartoons, then, are they work like pieces of art?
Oh, yes, they are, especially in full animation, which Warner Brothers does all the time. And Chuck makes pictures for Warner Brothers, and they're always in full animation. You see that every frame is drawn, whereas in limited animation that you see today, the new pictures, you see the eyes blink and the mouth move a little bit, and the background is like on a turntable, and you see the same thing over and over. But in full animation, where you see every action taken and every frame that is drawn. And the reason for the limited animation now is because of expenses. To make a fully animated cartoon, which Warner Brothers still does for television, costs an awful lot of money, and television's the only ones who pay enough to actually cover the expenses for full animation.
Mr. Blanc, you find, say, your voice is recognized no matter where you go, for example, a supermarket or an airport, or...
Well, if I use any of my voices, it is, yeah. But if I talk straight, why, the closest thing to my straight voice is Sylvester. All I do with Sylvester is add a spray to it, you know, make him speak like that. So, it's the closest thing to my own voice.
Sir, did you have this natural ability as a child? I mean, this ability to catch on to and get into so many different dialects. When did you, was this always an interest?
Yes, it's always been an interest to me. Even when I was a little kid, I used to entertain the kids and the teachers at the school assemblies, you know, and the kids would laugh and the teachers would laugh and then give me lousy marks. So, but it's always stuck with me. And when Jack Benny came through on Orpheum Circuit, you know, for vaudeville, I used to catch him at least twice a week while he was there, and never thinking I'd eventually work with him and be a very dear friend of mine for many years, since 1939.
Well, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Well, it's my pleasure, and give Chuck my love.
I will.
And tell him that I wish him every success in the world. I know he already has it, but I wish him more.
Okay, just 1 minute, too. Here he is.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Blanc.
Hi, how are you?
Just fine, sir. We really appreciate you taking your time out for this.
That's quite all right.
I tell you what, sir, do you have access to video facilities? If so, you know, we'd be glad to mail you a copy of this finished piece.
Yes, I do. I have Sony equipment and other equipment, too.
Would half-inch or three-quarter-inch be better?
Quarter-inch.
Three-quarter-inch. Okay, sir, if you could give me a mailing address, I'd be glad to send you a copy of this piece.
It's 266
Okay.
Toyopa, Toyopa Drive,
Okay.
Pacific Palisades, California,
Okay.
90272.
Got it. Very good. We'll get this out to you in about the next week.
Wonderful, thank you.
Well, thank you for your time and help, sir.
Okay.
Have a good day, Mr. Blanc.
Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.